this meeting to order for legislative on Monday, February 10th, 5:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray. Guys, back here. Dear Jesus, we just thank you, Father, for the ability to gather freely in our nation and to worship you and acknowledge your name and pray to you in public. And thank you that our founding fathers were wise enough to understand that our Constitution was built wholly for a moral and religious people, God, in all things that we do, and that we would keep you in mind and the foundations of our Western civilization, from the Ten Commandments on down, Father, of doing what's right, doing what is morally right in all instances, Father God, to the best of our abilities, even though we're sinful humans and have a sinful nature, we make mistakes, Father God. I just thank you for your grace that does cover us, and for your precious blood shed by Jesus on the cross. And I pray that you just give us wisdom and understanding and knowledge and revelation and discernment tonight to make decisions that need to be made, and just pray that our speech will be filled with grace as much as possible for us to do that, Lord. Just thank you for your goodness and your mercy, and I pray for our county and our county leaders and our county employees, that you would bless them with safety and wellness for them and their families as they serve our great county. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda? Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for approval of minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Miller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Recognition of the public. We have two people signed up to speak. When I call your name, if you please come up and state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Mr. Mike McClard.
Michael Clark, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville. I'm not going to take 5 minutes. It's not going to take me long to say what I need to say. Talking about the Brown House Trust and all that. I was looking today at the codicil. I'm just going to read it, believe me. It's been read. Cindy's read it so many times. We got probably most of it known by heart. But there is one thing I want to put in there, that this is in the second page of the codicil, and I actually made copies. I think there's one for everyone there, and I highlighted what we're talking about. But in the first paragraph of the second page, it says the trustees shall report annually to the board and to Sumner County Commission concerning the investment of the trust property, operation of the trust, and distributions of the trust property. As far as I know, this has never been done. Anybody, y'all correct if you want to, but I don't think it's ever been done. I'm pretty sure it wasn't done under the old administration, because they tried to hide the whole thing. And in the current administration, of course, they only found out about it probably less than a year ago, that it was even there, or at least that's what we were told. But anyway, noticing what's later on in the agenda, I think the scope of that, if you do proceed with that, it needs to include a full audit and review. I mean, of the funds, on how they've been spent, if there's been disbursements. I don't know, I've heard one person say that there have been disbursements every year, the interest. I've also heard that there haven't been. So, I mean, I'm not an auditor, I'm not an accountant. I tried to get Cindy to come up and explain it, to have her explain a lot of that, because that's what she did for 40 years. A lot more money than this is the account she audited constantly. So, the scope of that just needs to be all the way out. And I would even say it extends all the way out to the Sumner County Board. How's that money spent? If there are disbursements being made, in one of the financial reports, it showed like $117,000. Now, whether the county ever got that or the school board got it, I have no idea. And how was it spent? It was pretty narrow with what it was supposed to be spent for. Technological advancement of students. Now, somebody's going to have to define that, but you know, they can't be spent to plant a tree or to build a sports arena or anything else. It really would need to be used something. I would think some type of technology with the computers, laptops, anything along those lines that the advancement of students. But anyway, if y'all do proceed with that, I would encourage you to expand that scope of that and get a full audit review for every penny that's been spent, because this is dragged on way too long.
Thank you.
Oh, and on the Vanguard side too, because I think that's part of the problem.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Phil Ball. Mr. Kevin
Mr.
Baker?
Mayor, 424 E.B. Wade Road, I don't want to hear any comments about the size of my paper clip either. All right, so, first of all, I always get up here and I kind of chew people out and stuff like that, but hallelujah, hallelujah, kudos to the legal department. Now, maybe I missed something, and I don't know if you all are going to get this or not, but on the revisions to the public records in the documents, you're now putting in the revisions in color so we can see what was versus is or being proposed. Kudos. Great job. That's what we would expect to see in a first-class operation, so thank you. Now, don't get used to it too often, because... all right, so the Brown House. This has been going on too long, and the mayor told me before he skedaddled that he does, in fact, have the phone number for the woman at Vanguard that it was escalated to, and he committed to me that tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, he's going to give her a phone call. I'll believe it when I see it. This has been going on for much too long, and at some point, that Brown House is going to be beyond repair. And at that point, the citizens of Sumner County are going to lose a treasure, and they truly are going to be harmed. So what's our recourse? Our recourse is to sue who? The people that own the house. Who owns the house? The county does right now, right? So it's a matter of whether, you're going to talk about what you're going to do with this. Do you want to play offense or do you want to play defense? Because when the citizens decide to say, something, we've been grieved and we need to be, made whole, we're going to come looking for somebody. And there's going to be a lot of blame to lay around. So I highly recommend you go on offense. Don't wait for citizens to have a legitimate gripe. Now, I also have told a few people, I'm investigating right now, going after everybody's surety bonds. Maybe it'll hold true or not, but I don't know. At some point, other than every 4 years when we get to reelect y'all, what recourse do we have other than legal action? And that's where we're this close to doing. So, okay, so now got that off my chest. I saw you eyeballing that. All right. The next thing, the material uncollected reappraisal receivables. So since 2021, we haven't been getting paid from Gallatin, Portland, or Goodlettsville for our reappraisal services. Now, when I look at these numbers, we're owed $1.1 million. But also look at the numbers. The total due. Gallatin owes the county $764,000. $750,000. Okay? Something tells me they haven't paid the $7 million for the interchange over here along Hollow Pike to get that done that we ponied up $10 million for. They're behind. You talk to any of the citizens in Gallatin, they're behind on the plan of services. They're building more the twin ponds and more uncontrolled growth. They're financially in trouble. I don't think the county should be bailing them out. If anything, I would say you guys ought to look to pull back that $10 million on that interchange there. You could use it for a lot of better things. And secondly, maybe ask the comptroller to go in and look at what Gallatin's doing. There's a bill right now in the House that says a state rep can look into local government if somebody asks him to. Now, it hasn't passed yet, but at some point, Gallatin's not holding up their share of the bargain. We as county citizens shouldn't be having to pay for that and cover, carry that. So I seriously think you need to push for that, to get that money. And how come Hendersonville, Millersville, Mitchellville, Westmoreland, and White House, they are all up to date? How come? And don't tell me it's not that they haven't raised their taxes, because Westmoreland did raise their taxes. So don't also believe the BS when they say, well, we need more growth. No, it's a Ponzi scheme. You don't need more growth. It just gets you further in the hole. I don't want to sound like the town crier, but jeepers, creepers. I mean, Gallatin's gonna bankrupt us all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. For the chairman, I have nothing to report right now. For the county mayor, see that he left. Old business. Item A is discussion of property assessors appraisals and election boundary concerns brought forward by Commissioner Rogers last month. Have a motion? Discussion? Second by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Teishner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
You got a no, Commissioner Becker? Correct. Okay, Commissioner Becker was a no on discussion. I did just basically kind of the objective was for the county law director to look at the contract for the property assessor to get with, I guess, the Patriot, review the Patriot contract and contact Patriot to see if they still have the data and how much it would cost to purchase that information. I guess I don't see Mr. Hurt here or Mr. Rogers here tonight. I'm going to share an update from Mr. Hurt that emailed me this afternoon. He said he's been in contact with Catalyst, the company that bought Patriot. Robert Tuttle, our IT director, sent all the Patriot data that was on the county server to them for review as of 1/28/25. And on February the 4th, I guess a representative from Catalyst last Tuesday told Mr. Hurt that they have not had a chance to review the data yet. And I did not have an answer for him about whether the data was still available, how do we go about acquiring it, what's the cost. He did not have any answers yet for that. So just reporting back to the committee on this issue. Mr. Law Director, I know that part of it was for you looking over that contract. Yes, the Patriot contract was a request from the committee. And so I wanted to see if you had anything to say about that or your thoughts.
Yeah, if I may, after reviewing the contract, there were a couple of provisions about the data. Everything else was pretty much run-of-the-mill for license agreements and software. There was one section, 8.5, return of client data. It says within 30 days of termination of services that they would make available client data in a reasonable format. Provider shall have no obligation to maintain or provide any of the client data and shall thereafter, unless legally prohibited, delete all client data in the service provider system or otherwise in their possession or control. Then, as you read on, it goes to state that kind of runs contrary to that clause, which is the parties hereby agree that in any event which brings about the end of this agreement, whether by end of term, early termination, it requires that any data, records, or information referencing or created on behalf of or for the county shall be copied and returned to the county in a commercially standard format on a commercially standard media at no cost to the county within 10 working days or at a time agreed to by the county. So part of this contract was, it looks like we had to request it, and the end of the contract specifically says within 10 days or agreed on by the county, that it will be provided, it shall be. So my questions to Mr. Hurt in regards to that is, and he may not know because the date of this contract's 2022.
That would be the county mayor.
I believe it was executed by Mayor Isbell. And yes.
21, or is it different?
Let's see here.
I spoke to Robert Smallwood on that.
So, no, I'm sorry, you're right, 2021 to 2022. And so I do not know what was provided in what format or if it was even given to us as the contract requires.
Mr. Show?
Yeah, that was, the chain here, I mean, I assumed there was something like that in the contract, so I kind of had a fit about this last time. So, the chain here, we've done the research on the contract. There are clauses that state that the data should should be returned to us, which I expected. At this point, we just need to confirm if we have had, if that data has been returned, and if it has, where. Then it's on the assessor's office to make that available to people so that they can understand if they have questions like Commissioner Rogers' father did, to understand better. We actually kind of had been getting lucky. It sounded like, you've been getting lucky previously, which is great. But I wouldn't trust that either. If my taxes on a percentage-wise basis suddenly went up and I was told that it was because of a flaw in previous data, and then I was not allowed to have access to that data. So the next step here is to confirm whether or not we have that data. And if we do, we need to make it available to people. I don't know that there's anything that we can do or that there's any vote that we need to take now. We just need to make that request out to the tax assessor's office. Do we have the data? If not, we need to go and compel this company that owns the Patriot system to give it to us. I think it's pretty simple.
We don't have the data, that's what we're discussing.
Well, we don't
Mr. Hurd doesn't know that we have.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need to, it's government, and we've had a change of hands. So I think we need to do our best to confirm that we don't have it before we go and kick teeth, in my opinion.
Commissioner Jones?
I think we could just write back to them on the response that you have there and ask them to prove where they sent it. And if it has anything to do with it was sent to the previous county assessor, Mary's bill could be copied in on that too, and he could have the opportunity to rebut that or chime in if he has a recollection that it was sent in. But state the paragraph in the contract that says that they're supposed to give it to us, because now it's not a matter of asking can we have it and how much it's going to cost. It's their duty to provide it, and us saying we don't have it should be enough for them to prove that they did provide it. Put it on them to show it to us.
I think you just changed my mind. Because that's simple. They should have record that they sent it. So I'm going to make a motion to that effect, that the county attorney draft a letter to, what was the name of the company? Catalyst. Stating that pursuant to this, to our agreement, we request county-owned data, and at this juncture, we do not believe we have it. Can you please provide proof that you have sent it to us, and if not, please provide us with all county-owned data. That's my motion.
Can I chime in?
Go ahead.
Are we certain everybody has said they don't have it?
That was my original.
I don't want to go asking for something.
Objection, I'm going to allow Commissioner Boyd to speak.
I called Mr. Tuttle because I asked him a question to him. And as of a week ago, he told me he had all of it on a server. Now, that might have changed, and I tried to stop him before he left all that time, but that might have changed, and he might have sent it somewhere. But I said, he's like, yeah, I can't read it. I'm just holding it. You need the Patriot interface or something, but I'm just holding it. I can't read it.
So we do have it.
So somebody.
So we're getting outside of the scope of legal. I can tell you what the contract says, but as far as what happened with the info and how to read it, I don't have a clue.
I'm going to amend my
Commissioner
motion.
Sheville.
Yeah, because I want to amend it, because I actually think there's still value in doing this. So we know that we have some data. Do we have some kind of control? We don't know if we have all that we're supposed to. There's typically control files. I don't know. It may make sense to go and check with Mr. Tuttle to find out what the scope of it is and review it. So before we go down this path, I think I'm going to retract my motion, because if we have the data, let's understand what we have first before we go and ask, so I'm gonna retract.
Commissioner Teacher, you're next.
All I want to say is, Mr. Chairman, is with it saying that parties hereby agree that any event which brings about the end of this agreement, whether by end of term or early termination, requires that any data records or information referencing or created on behalf of or for the county shall be copied and returned to the county in a commercially standard format on a commercially standard media at no cost to county within 10 working days. So the reason why I'm saying that, I know it's just read, but if we have data that we need an interface to read, that's not returned to us in a proper manner. So I think that's very viable that we still maybe move forward with that. But, so.
Commissioner Jones?
I'm a little bit frustrated. I feel like I'm having a deja vu moment here where we're discussing something that the county mayor probably knows a lot about. And this has been a discussion that's been going on for at least a month. And why could we not simply get him to talk to Mr. Tuttle, and he probably will understand that better than anybody, being that was his former job, career. Can we not request that? I don't know if that's a form of motion, or he should be able to answer all of this. He's had a month to figure it out, especially if Mr. Tuttle has had this information, and the mayor was here at the last meeting during that discussion. He could have interjected into there to help this situation along if he indeed wanted to help the taxpayers figure this out. Can we ask him to do that, or does it need to come in the form of a motion?
Go ahead. I don't think you can. That's Mr. Hurt's purview now. And
Hold data.
it doesn't matter. That's his kingdom there. So if he wants to loop in the mayor, then I think he can do that, and that can be a suggestion to do that, but I don't think I would suggest superseding Mr. Hurt's authority over his elected office.
Well, with all due respect, we gave Mr. Hurt the ability to ask that over the last month, and he hasn't gotten involved in it. So I'm wondering how to press it to get answers to the citizens. If they could just get together and maybe look at it, maybe they could figure it out without us having to push back to the company. The answers may be there if they just look at it.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just...
Well, so could we just do it in the form of a request to get them to look at it? I mean, loop in that company also to let them know we're looking at it.
Again, what I read earlier from Mr. Hurt, said he's been in contact with Catalyst, the company that bought Patriot. So Robert Tuttle would send all the Patriot data that was on the county server to them for review, but obviously they're not able to read it. Why would they send it back to them? To the point. And the Catalyst said they haven't had a chance to review what was sent yet. They've opened up a ticket. That was as of February the 4th, 6 days ago. So right now you have data that obviously nobody can read. To figure out what it is to bring forward that Commissioner Rogers was asking about. I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here, or Mr. Hurt was going to be here either.
So I think I understand what's happening. We can't read it, which I'm kind of interested in what the format of the data is now, but we can't read it, so we sent it. Now I understand what's happening. That Mr. Tuttle sent the data back to Catalyst for Catalyst to confirm, one, to confirm that, the read receipt basically, hey, is this everything that we're supposed to have, I'm sure. And two, can you provide us with a, some kind of codex to decipher this so that we can read it. So given that that's movement, I mean, that's only 6 days old. I mean, I think we should just kind of let this play out. It sounds like they're going back and forth. They're trying to get that from Catalyst. If it goes another month and we don't hear anything, then we can press. But that sounds reasonable. That sounds like what they're trying to do, what they're supposed to do. And by they, I mean the tax assessor's office, in order to get the data back in a readable format. So I think we just leave it alone for now.
Commissioner Dishon.
They only have 10 days. So. to get it back to us, correct?
Yeah, that was the end of the contract, which was 3 years ago.
So it's been 10 days. Just kidding.
It's been 10 days. Well, without objection, I'm going to keep this on under old business for March. With Commissioner Jones.
With no action, or are we gonna,
I mean, there's no action to take. I mean, if they've given the data to Talis and they're waiting for Talis to interpret the data for them.
I would like just to give them a timeline. I don't wanna get caught like we have on other issues, and just somebody answer back and say, could you email us back some kind of status report by end of this week, or something like that, just to, I don't want to be revisiting this next month for an answer to review the next month, you know, then,
I'll email Mr. Hurd and ask him for a status report.
thank you.
All right. Item B, appointment of Title VI Coordinator. This was moved back to old business. We have discussed this going to the Law Director's office. There was no objection. I don't know why we kept this on old business at the time, other than the fact of I can't remember, so I'll make a motion for discussion. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Mr. Becker's opposed to discussion. Mr. Water?
I've been talking at length with, Mr. Long on this, and the issue we're running into is this Title VI has really impacted grants. So we're deciding on which office, how to run a coordinator. We're starting now to think that possibly finance should need it, but either department it goes to, I will say this, it will need, a new employee request will be made, because this is gonna encompass quite a few things, and to keep us in compliance with quite a bit in the way of grants and whatnot. So this could probably come off of legislative and go to budget for them to make a determination whether they want Mr. Long to have the employee, and he can put on his reasons why, because a lot of it is tied to grants and things of that nature. So that's my suggestion, but I defer to you, Chairman.
This does not feel very doji. This does not feel doji to me.
I don't understand why we have to have a new employee.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I gotta say, I mean, maybe not, but like, I'm happy to consider it in budget, but we can, if we're gonna do that, then strike it and we'll put it into the next, the budget cycle and to consider it with all the other requests. Because this type of thing to me is what in the military used to call like an additional duty. So if you are if you're like a lieutenant or a platoon leader, you're also can be tagged as the unit safety officer. That's what this feels like to me. Maybe it's more than that, but for an extra FTE, I'm gonna have to be convinced. So I'm fine to move it over to budget. I'm happy to put it on there. I'm just saying that my bar is high, because it doesn't feel doji to me.
Commissioner Jones?
Also, don't all of our departments have to do some compliance training per their department standards? Like, a lot of this stuff is information that you would glean from those types of trainings. It just needs to be posted countywide. It's already being talked about interdepartmentally, the compliance trainings they have to go through. It just needs to be posted on a bulletin board, or, shown that the county is accepting those policies to the public. So the information's there. It's just about getting it all together and somebody posting it up to satisfy a requirement, I would think. If you know more about what the description is, please do, because that goes to the heart of what he's talking about and about efficiency. I'd like to know how many hours we're talking about that it would really require, if you know more.
Mr. Lawrence, you want to answer that, or we got Mr.
I welcome everybody sitting at this table to research Title VI coordinator and how much impact it has on all these items. And I too have been in the military under the guise of picking up additional duties, and sometimes it takes another soldier. So, at the end of the day, I'll do whatever you all instruct me to do, but I was given the magistrates this way because it was just something simple I could do. I was given the, probation department because, I mean, that sounds legal, so let's throw that under them too. At some point in time with all of this stuff, something's gonna give. And that's the perspective I'm looking at on this. Now, whether that person could be part-time and fill in an additional role, that would probably be better suited for, finance, and I would yield to Mr. Long on that.
I'm happy to take it up in budget during this next year's budget cycle.
We're looking,
Mr. Long, would you mind?
we've been looking at it too, and several hours haven't been done, and when it's done correctly, it's gonna take quite a bit of work. It should be done to somebody, like it's an HR or someone that, around we don't have. So it'd probably fit into finance or legal, but it is gonna take some staff.
Do I have a motion for this to go to budget?
You don't have to, we'll put it on budget. You don't have to make a motion.
The problem is it was part-time.
Well, I think I'll make a motion. I'll entertain, I'll make a motion to send this to budget.
That's fine.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Becker? Yes, we're gonna move.
One quick question for you.
About this.
No, it's not about that. It's just that I just didn't know whether to do it. I needed to abstain from the first, that vote, and I didn't know when I should do it. And I wanted to be on record so it didn't look like she made it. That's all I'm saying.
So you wanna correct
I just
your
wanted
vote
to
early?
correct my vote.
Commissioner Teacher is correcting his
And I
vote.
didn't want her to feel like she'd have to make it up, so, I wanted to be on the record.
All right.
Just for a minute.
New business A, Veteran Service Report Presentation. I don't see Mr. Oki here, so we'll move on. Item B, Quick Claim Deed Access Easement for Church to Access Parking Garage. Do we have a motion, discussion? Motion. Motion by Commissioner Teacher, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Becker is opposed. Is there, Mr. Law Director, do you want to explain this?
This is merely cleaning up some language. The intent for this access was always anticipated, so we're just making sure that the language says that they can basically cross over and use the parking lot as we've allowed them to use the parking lot.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item C, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
A motion by Commissioner Schoaf, second by Commissioner Becker. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, discussion, taking legal action against the Brown Technology Trust and trustees for failure to disperse funds intended for the county and Brown House. Entertain a motion for discussion. Second by Commissioner Teacher, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Becker, are you opposed, or?
Well, it's listed as discussion, so I'm good with discussing, as long as it's
Is that a discussion?
There was a discussion.
yeah, so there's no,
not
won't be any motion, okay, no action, so, yeah, I'm good with discussion.
Go ahead.
So, I'm gonna just, I guess there was a meeting last Tuesday, the county mayor had called, Vanguard, and I know that there were citizens present. I think some of the debaters, Commissioner Janung and Dustin Owens, I believe, from the finance department, as well as Karen Aguilar from Fox 17 News on the phone, if I'm not mistaken. I guess, County Mayor, I guess I have a question for you as far as, I have some notes from what was discussed. I did hear the recording that was provided to me. I think Commissioner John asked her to record that since I couldn't be there for a public benefit. It's my understanding that Vanguard told you within 24 hours that they were going to give you some information on the 5th. Did Vanguard ever give you any information on the February the 5th?
Not yet. They said 24 to 48 hours.
Well, they did say that at one point, that she said within 24 hours, about between 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, February the 5th, that she was going to get back with you regarding some information. And I think it was some kind of a prioritization request was for that 24 to 48 hours. I guess as far as that call went on the disbursement of funds, what is your intention on those funds when they are dispersed, when you get as a signatory on that account?
I think you heard that recording, I made it pretty clear.
Well, I did hear the
Made it pretty
recording.
clear to Vanguard what I was gonna do.
Well, I heard that you said that you were going to put the money in another account. And when it was asked,
I asked him, what's the process to withdraw funds? And I made it clear through that whole conversation, my initial intention was to get that $500,000 plus interest out. After we do that, then we're gonna look at moving the account to a local entity so we do not go through this again.
well, that's what I'm kind of getting at here is because, I mean, it was asked by a citizen that was there specifically, were you going to put that money under the trustee here at the county? And you said, no, you weren't. You're moving it to another account under a CPA. And that's not, I mean,
No, that's not what I said.
It is what you said. I got it written down. I got the recording, and you said exactly
I
that.
said the CPA is finding the trust that we will put in.
Well, I guess my point is,
And
it's not
then it will
supposed to go
still be under
the
the control of the trustees. Because, let Timmy talk.
Commissioner Jones.
I understand this differently now. I think what he's saying is take the technology trust and put it into a local out of Vanguard, but take the $500,000 out, and that's gonna go into the county trustee. I think Ms. Baker was asking, is the $500,000 gonna go under the county trustee? And you answered her differently because you thought she was talking about the bigger lump sum of money in the trust, and that's where the confusion comes in.
Yeah.
That just dawned on me.
She understood that was.
That's what just dawned on me. Well, she asked the question,
Well, no, she just
what's gonna happen to the money?
About the $500,000, she didn't ask about the rest. That's why I was asking if you could clarify this.
Well, then I misunderstood.
So just
Okay.
to where, so that we can avoid that, because I think sometimes we're just talking past each other. So, Mr. Mayor, I was not there. Just for clarification, it sounds to me like your intent, which I think nobody has any problem with, is to, as soon as possible, retrieve all funds, both the $7 million and the $500,000 from the Vanguard account.
Let me go ahead and make it as clear as possible.
Okay, just go ahead.
Okay? What I'm gonna do first, when they say, John, it is in your name, I'm gonna say, I need to get $500,000 and the interest out of the account in a check to me directly. Okay? That goes to the county. Then, once that happens, we're gonna draw the interest that goes to the schools for the past 2 years. Okay? Once that happens, we're gonna move the account to a local investment firm. But I wanna get those two items first, get those out of Vanguard first, and then move the account. Because that seems to me to be the most prudent way to do it, to get the funds to the county, get the funds to the schools, and then we can go through the laborious process of transferring the account.
Got it. That sounds fine to me. I'm gonna motion to deny this because I think there's not a problem that we need to deal with based on what I just heard.
There's nothing to motion against, this is just discussion.
Okay, then I don't think we need to take any action.
Go ahead, Commissioner Miller.
And I'll direct it to you to deliver, but do those trustees have to sign off on that $500,000? Or can
No,
they make
I did hear that. They said the way their contract is written is can be one signatory, so the mayor has full authority to do
I
that.
made clear, so that would not slow down the process. I asked them that question directly. Everybody was there. They said, John, you can do it.
Correct. All right, perfect. Well, that's why I wanted to bring this up to clarify, because there was, the finance department commissioner heard one thing, that they were interpreting it that way, and when I listened to it, that's the way I interpreted it. That was not your intent, so I appreciate you clarifying that. Commissioner Jones?
When I listened to it, that's what I thought too, but only during this discussions, I was hearing him differently than I was hearing you, and that's when it dawned on me. I just would like to ask a question of the mayor.
Good.
So I heard you say that there's no, they haven't responded to that yet. Do you plan on calling or emailing tomorrow, or is this something you can email us when
I
you do
got
get
an
a
email
response?
this morning. Another citizen reached out, and I sent him an email, and have not received a response. And tomorrow I should be able to make a phone call.
Do we have any other accounts with Vanguard, like our retirement accounts?
I don't know.
Um,
That'd be a finance
So
question.
just to clarify, from your call with Vanguard, whoever the lady you spoke with for the prioritization request, she did say that it was gonna take 24 to 48 hours to review that prioritization request on Tuesday, which they should have got back to you no later than Thursday, the 6th. But that she did say that by 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday the 5th, that she would follow back up. So she did not follow back up on the 5th, and they didn't do it on the 6th. And when you emailed them today, on the 10th, they still have not done anything.
I have not, as of the email today, they have still not responded back with an affirmative action. They've only responded back and said it's going to take longer. But I have not received a response from the email I sent today.
Commissioner Teacher.
Can I ask a question, Drew? But did you, I understand what you're saying there, but did you receive a response at all since that other initial phone call, in between that initial phone call and before that you sent that
I'll
email?
make sure I get it accurate. No.
So the last response of any sort,
So I
in person or?
I sent an email after that, and she said we're still working on it, and then I sent another email today.
So she did say she was still working on it.
They're still working on it.
So that's the only
That's it.
response at all, in-person, carrier pigeon, anything, just that? Got it.
That's it.
Commissioner Becker.
If she says she's still working on it, if she replies, and says she's still working on it, or we're able to call in the morning, can you please request them to tell you
24 to 48 hours?
No, well, whatever it is. Like, I know you're frustrated about it. I mean,
Oh, you have no idea.
the whole thing, I talked to you one night, and I caught your frustration pretty clearly. The whole thing seems just really strange, so I'm glad we're moving it local, because this is ridiculous. But they should be able to tell you, even if it's a silly 24, 48 hours, like, what is a realistic timing to get this resolved or whatever.
I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Jones.
is that something we could just get an email to the committee to?
Be more than happy to send one after I hang up the phone.
Fine, thank you. That way we don't have to wait till next month to get a result.
All right, well, we will wait to hear back from the county mayor on status report on that,
Motion to
tomorrow.
group and approve 9E and 10A.
I got a motion by Commissioner, Sho to group and approve 9E under new business and 10A under recognition. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Becker.
No.
What in 9E are you?
Well, your motion.
Well, it may
Second.
fail.
All right, so we're on to item E, discussion on collective material receivables. Do you have a motion for discussion? Second by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Teacher. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Mr. Becker?
I don't think, we don't need a motion, but I mean, we can discuss. Since there's no action, we don't need a motion, but go ahead.
Well, we typically do just for form.
We don't need it.
So, anybody have any questions on this, or Mr. Law Director, you want to explain this, or Mr. Long, if he's still here?
Well, basically, it's what was brought up, I believe, in public comment. It's, if we do not, it was asked of me, what's the final recourse if we don't get the money from the cities that haven't paid their taxes, the property taxes? And at the end of the day, it basically becomes a lawsuit, so that the reason this is a discussion item is just for this committee to know if it needs to move up, for the commission to know that there could, that's the only recourse I see beyond continually asking them for it. And so that's basically the heart of that.
Commissioner Becker?
I'm trying to remember our discussion last month, so I may be off, but I think I remember a comment that they're not necessarily delinquent. It's not like they owed it back in 21, 22, 23, if they only owe it every 5-year cycle. So my question, if that's true, how delinquent are they at this point in time of owing this money listed?
A year.
So they should have paid this
Last May.
last May or June.
If I may, I believe in talking with Mr. Lawrence that they were delinquent before the reassessment, and we were just waiting on the reassessment to occur so that everybody had the same numbers, and then we would make a determination at that time who was delinquent. So that's my understanding. I do not know what the threshold is for the county.
Make a motion to go after the money. If we need to. I don't know.
We have a motion by Commissioner Becker to take legal action if necessary to go after the money, or to take legal action with a letter be sent, or
I can get with Mr. Long and see what's the path of least resistance for him.
all right, we have a motion to take legal action. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, just for the sake of discussing, I'd like to pause just to give Commissioner Shove time to get back for the vote,
Where do you go?
maybe to the restroom. I can check, but we want the vote, right?
I mean,
I'm only going 5 minutes, but we'll probably have enough votes anyway.
Okay.
so the motion is to take legal action, against these cities for this $1.112 million, $880,000.
Maybe to clarify, my motion is to,
See, I thought that was funny, right?
Yeah.
I guess just to define what legal action is, I think my motion is to direct the law director to take action as best he sees fit.
To move this forward.
To move this
To collect the
forward. To collect the money, yes.
All right, any questions about the motion? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Motion
Second.
10A.
Motion to approve 10A, got a second by Commissioner Schoaf, got a motion by Commissioner Becker, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One more motion.
Motion adjourned.
I think it's important to get unanimous, because it looks like you're going forward, so it's trying to get you in.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd get back in time, but if it didn't, it didn't, but my little style working.